Captain Lee Jinho stood on the observation deck of the mining station, watching the sun rise over Taeguk 7. The planet was beautiful in its own way. Red rocks stretched for miles under an orange sky. The human colony had been here for 15 years now. What started as a small mining camp had grown into a real town with 50,000 people. Lee adjusted his uniform and checked his watch. Another quiet morning shift was about to begin. As head of colony security, he had seen many peaceful days like this one. The miners would go to work. Children would go to school. Life would continue as normal. But today would be different. The alarm started screaming at exactly 7:23 in the morning. Lee ran to the command center as fast as he could. The main screen showed something that made his blood run cold. Ships were coming out of hyperspace above the planet. Not human ships. These were huge, dark vessels with strange designs. "How many?" Lee asked his second-in-command. "Officer Park Min-ho." 20 ships, sir." "Maybe more coming," Park replied, his voice shaking. "They're not responding to our calls." Lee had never seen ships like these before. They were twice the size of human warships. Their hulls were black and covered with sharp edges. They looked like giant weapons floating in space. "Send a message to Earth Command," Lee ordered. "Tell them we have unknown ships above Taeguk 7. Request immediate backup." But even as he said it, Lee knew help would not come in time. Earth was 3 weeks away by the fastest ship. These aliens, whoever they were, had picked their target well. Dr. Kim Yoonbi rushed into the command center. She was the colony's chief, scientist, and had been studying alien technology for years. Her face was white with fear. "Captain Lee, I've seen ships like these before," she said. "In old reports from the outer colonies, the ones that disappeared." "What are you talking about?" Lee asked. "The Vorthak Empire," Dr. Kim said. "They're a species that destroys other races. They believe only they deserve to exist in the galaxy." The main screen suddenly lit up. A face appeared on it. The creature was tall and covered in green scales. Its eyes were yellow and cold. When it spoke, its voice was like metal scraping against stone. "Humans of this world," the alien said, "I am Commander Vex of the Vorthak Empire. Your species has been judged unworthy to exist. You have 1 hour to prepare for death." The screen went black. Lee felt his heart pounding. Around him, his officers stood in shock. An hour to live. An hour before 50,000 people would die. "Sir, what do we do?" Park asked. Lee thought fast. The colony had 3 small defense ships. They were meant to fight pirates, not a fleet of alien warships. But they had to try something. "Get all civilian ships ready to leave," Lee ordered. "Pack as many people as possible. Send them toward the asteroid belt. Maybe some can hide there." "What, about the defense ships?" Park asked. "We'll buy them time," Lee said. "Even if we can't win, we can slow them down." Dr. Kim grabbed Lee's arm. "Captain, we have something the aliens might want. Our research data. 15 years of information about human technology and settlements. If they get it, they'll know where to attack next." Lee understood. The colony's computers held maps of every human world, trade routes, defense plans, everything the aliens needed to destroy humanity completely. "Can you destroy the data?" he asked. "I can try, but I need time," Dr. Kim said. The next 30 minutes were chaos. Families ran through the streets with whatever they could carry. Children cried as parents pushed them toward the landing pads. The colony's ships filled up quickly. There were not enough seats for everyone. Park Min-ho worked with the evacuation teams. He had lived on Taeguk 7 his whole life. His wife and 2 daughters were on one of the first ships to leave. He watched their transport disappear into the orange sky and prayed he would see them again. Young pilot Choi Hyun-woo prepared his cargo ship for takeoff. At 25, he was one of the colony's best pilots. His ship could carry 200 people if they squeezed together. He filled every inch of space with families. "We're ready to go," Choi told Lee over the radio. "Wait for my signal," Lee replied. "All ships leave together. Better chance that way." In her lab, Dr. Kim worked frantically to erase the colony's data. Her fingers flew over the computer controls. She had to delete everything before the aliens landed. But the files were huge. It would take time she didn't have. Above the planet, the Vorthak ships moved into attack position. Their weapons began to glow with deadly energy. Commander Vex watched the human colony from his command ship. To him, this was just another day of work. Another inferior species to remove from the galaxy. "Begin the cleansing," he ordered. The first energy beams hit the colony at exactly 8:23 in the morning. Buildings exploded in balls of fire. The ground shook as massive craters appeared where homes used to be. The aliens were not trying to capture anything. They wanted to destroy everything. Lee ran to his defense ship as explosions shook the landing pad. His small crew was already inside, ready to fight. They knew they would probably die, but they had to try. "All civilian ships, take off now," Lee shouted into his radio. 12 ships rose from the burning colony. They were packed with 20,000 people. The other 30,000 were trapped below as the alien bombing continued. The defense ships attacked the Vorthak fleet. Their weapons were like insects biting a giant. The alien ships barely noticed the small human vessels. But Lee and his pilots kept fighting, trying to draw attention away from the escaping civilians. Choi Hyun-woo's cargo ship struggled to gain speed with so many people aboard. Behind him, he could see other civilian ships spreading out, trying to make harder targets. Some made it to hyperspace. Others were hit by alien fire and exploded. Dr. Kim was still in her lab when the building started to collapse. She had erased most of the data, but not all of it. With her last few seconds, she grabbed a portable drive containing the most important files and ran for the emergency tunnel. The tunnel led to a small escape pod hidden under the lab. Dr. Kim had built it, in secret, hoping she would never need it. She climbed inside and launched just as her lab disappeared in a ball of flame. Lee's defense ship lasted 5 minutes against the aliens. His weapons could not penetrate their shields. Their energy beams cut through his ship's armor like paper. As his vessel began to break apart, Lee used his last moments to send a message. "This is Captain Lee Jin-ho of Taeguk 7, he said into his transmitter. "The Vorthak Empire has attacked our colony. 50,000 civilians dead. They have weapons that can destroy matter itself. Warn Earth. Warn everyone. They're coming for all of us." The message broadcast just before Lee's ship exploded. By 9 o'clock in the morning, Taeguk 7 was gone. Where a thriving human colony had existed for 15 years, only burning craters remained. The Vorthak ships had done their work perfectly, but they had made one mistake. They let some humans escape. Choi Hyun-woo's ship reached the nearest human outpost 3 days later. On board were survivors with video footage of the attack. Dr. Kim's escape pod was picked up by a patrol ship with her research data intact. The survivors brought terrible news to humanity. The Vorthak Empire was coming. Their fleet of 200 ships was already moving toward Earth's solar system, and they had weapons that could erase planets from existence. But they also brought something else. They brought proof that humans could fight back. That even when facing impossible odds, some people would survive, some would escape, some would carry the warning to others. The massacre at Taeguk 7 was meant to be the beginning of humanity's end. Instead, it became the beginning of humanity's greatest war. Admiral Yoon Seok-jin had not slept in 3 days. The images from Taeguk 7 played over and over in his mind. 50,000 people dead in less than an hour. Buildings turned to dust by weapons that seemed to break the laws of physics. He stood in the main briefing room of Busan Station, humanity's largest military base. Around the holographic table sat Earth's top military leaders and scientists. The mood was dark. Everyone knew what the footage meant. Humanity was facing extinction. "Show them again," Admiral Yoon said to his aide. The hologram displayed the final moments of Taeguk 7. The Vorthak ships fired beams of purple energy. Where the beams hit, matter simply disappeared. No explosion, no debris. Buildings, vehicles, and people just stopped existing. Dr. Lim Ji-young studied the footage with professional interest. As head of alien technology research, she had spent years trying to understand weapons like these, but seeing them used against humans made her stomach sick. "It's reality manipulation," she explained to the room. "They're not destroying matter. They're making it forget how to exist." "Can our shields stop it?" asked General Nam Tae-hyun. "No," Dr. Lim replied. "Our shields are designed to absorb or deflect energy. These weapons attack the basic structure of space and time itself." Choi Hyun-woo sat at the back of the room with the other survivors. His clothes still smelled like smoke from the burning colony. He had barely eaten since arriving at Busan Station. Every time he closed his eyes, he saw the faces of the people he could not save. "How many ships do they have?" Admiral Yoon asked. Dr. Kim Yoonbi, who had escaped in the emergency pod, checked her portable drive. "Based on our observations and old reports, the main Vorthak fleet has over 200 warships. Each one is larger than our biggest vessels." "And how many ships do we have?" Admiral Yoon asked, though he already knew the answer. 40, replied General Nam, including patrol boats and cargo ships with weapons. The room fell silent. 200 alien superweapons against 40 human ships. It was not a battle. It was a slaughter waiting to happen. "There is another option," Dr. Lim said quietly. Everyone turned to look at her. She had been quiet during most of the meeting, but now she stood and activated a new hologram. It showed a ship unlike anything in the human fleet. The vessel was sleek and dark, about the size of a heavy cruiser. But its design was strange. Parts of it seemed to shimmer and fade as if it was not completely solid. "Project Prometheus," Dr. Lim announced. "We've been building it in secret for 5 years. Admiral Yoon leaned forward. "I've never heard of this project." "Only 12 people knew about it," Dr. Lim explained. "We built it using technology recovered from alien crash sites. The ship can exist partially outside normal space-time." The hologram showed technical drawings of the ship's interior. The engine room looked like something from a nightmare. Twisted metal and crystal formations that hurt to look at directly. "How does it work?" General Nam asked. "We call it a quantum phase drive," Dr. Lim said. "The ship can shift between dimensions. It can pass through solid matter. It can appear and disappear at will." "That sounds impossible," Admiral Yoon said. "So did the Vortek weapons until yesterday," Dr. Lim replied. "We've tested the drive on a small scale. It works, but we've never put it in a full-size ship before." "What are the risks?" asked Dr. Lim hesitated. The quantum fields are unstable. The ship might tear itself apart, the crew might be scattered across multiple dimensions, or the drive might create a black hole and destroy the solar system. But it might work? Admiral Yoon asked. It might work, Dr. Lim agreed. The Admiral stood and walked to the window. Outside, he could see Earth hanging in space like a blue jewel. Soon, the Vorthak fleet would arrive to destroy it. Humanity needed a miracle. Where is this ship? Asked. Hidden in the asteroid belt near Mars, Dr. Lim said. We call it the Indomitable. Who would captain it? General Nam asked. Dr. Lim activated another hologram. This one showed the service record of a middle-aged man with gray hair and tired eyes. Captain Han Woo-jin, she said. Former admiral, demoted after losing his command to alien pirates 3 years ago. He knows more about alien tactics than anyone else in the fleet. Admiral Yoon studied the record. Han Woo-jin had been a brilliant officer before his disgrace. He had won battles against impossible odds. But he had also made the mistake that cost him his career and the lives of his crew. He's currently serving on a supply station near Jupiter, Dr. Lim continued. Drinking too much and waiting to retire. You want to give our most advanced ship to a drunk has-been? General Nam asked. I want to give it to the only person who might be crazy enough to make it work, Dr. Lim replied. Admiral Yoon made his decision. Contact Han Woo-jin. Tell him humanity needs him one more time. 2 days later, Captain Han Woo-jin stood in the hangar bay of the secret facility near Mars. Before him was the Indomitable, and it was the strangest ship he had ever seen. The hull seemed to shift and change as he watched. Sometimes it looked solid. Sometimes he could see right through it to the walls behind. The ship hurt his eyes in a way he could not explain. She's beautiful, isn't she? Dr. Lim asked, joining him at the observation window. She's terrifying, Han replied. How many people have you killed testing this thing? Only 3, Dr. Lim said. And they might still be alive somewhere in the quantum foam. Han was not sure if she was joking. With Dr. Lim, it was hard to tell. The crew is already aboard, she continued. Engineer Nam Tae-hyun, the general's son. Weapons specialist Ko Sun-mi, top of her class at the academy. Navigator Bae Ji-hoon, who has flown through more dangerous space than anyone alive. All volunteers? Han asked. All volunteers, Dr. Lim confirmed. They know this is probably a suicide mission. Han nodded. He had expected that. No one would order people to crew an experimental ship against an alien fleet. It had to be a choice. What's the plan? He asked. Dr. Lim activated a portable hologram showing the Vorthak fleet's approach route. They're moving slowly, conquering human colonies as they go. They'll reach Earth's outer settlements in 72 hours. And we're supposed to stop 200 ships with one experimental vessel? Not stop them, Dr. Lim said. Hunt them. The Indomitable can appear anywhere without warning, hit their command ships, disrupt their formations, make them afraid. Han studied the tactical display. It was insane. But it might be the only chance humanity had. The quantum drive is untested at full power, Dr. Lim warned. We don't know how long it will last before it breaks down. You might get one good fight out of it. Maybe 2. And if the drive fails while we're phased? Han asked. Then, you'll be stuck between dimensions forever, Dr. Lim said simply. Han looked at the Indomitable again. The ship seemed to be calling to him. It wanted to hunt. It wanted to fight. Maybe it wanted to die, taking enemies with it. When do we launch? He asked. Now, Dr. Lim replied. The Vorthak scouts are already attacking the outer colonies. Every hour we wait, more humans die. Han walked toward the ship. His new crew was waiting for him. Engineer Nam Tae-hyun was barely 25, but he understood the quantum drive better than anyone. Weapons specialist Ko Sun-mi had requested this assignment after seeing the footage from Taeguk 7. Navigator Bae Ji-hoon had lost his family to alien pirates and wanted revenge. They were all young. They were all angry. They were all ready to die, fighting. As Han boarded the Indomitable, he felt the ship's strange energy around him. The walls hummed with quantum power. The air itself seemed to vibrate with potential. "Captain on deck," Engineer Nam announced as Han entered the bridge. The bridge was unlike anything Han had seen before. Instead of normal displays, the walls showed shifting patterns of light. The helm controls looked like they belonged on an alien ship. "Status report," Han ordered. "Quantum drive online," Nam reported. "All systems green, though I'm not sure what half of them do." "Weapons loaded and ready," Ko added. "We have 20 quantum torpedoes and enough energy for sustained beam fire." "Course plotted for the Vorthak advance scouts," Bae said. "We can intercept them in 6 hours." Han settled into the captain's chair. It felt warm against his back, as if the ship was welcoming him. "Take us out," he ordered. The Indomitable began to move, but it did not move like a normal ship. Instead of flying through space, it seemed to slip between the cracks of reality. One moment they were in the hangar. The next moment, they were among the stars. "Phase drive engaged," Nam reported. "We are now existing partially outside normal space-time." Through the strange displays, Han could see space around them. But it looked different. Colors that had no names. Distances that made no sense. They were hunting in a realm between worlds. "Time to intercept?" Han asked. 4 hours, Bae replied. "Good," Han said. "Let's show these aliens what humans do to those who threaten our families." The Indomitable disappeared into the quantum foam, carrying humanity's last hope toward its first battle with the Vorthak Empire. The Vorthak scout ships moved through space like hunters looking for prey. 5 massive vessels, each one larger than anything in the human fleet. They had just finished destroying another human colony and were heading toward the next target. Commander. Zek stood on the bridge of the lead ship. He was young for a Vorthak officer, but he had already destroyed 12 worlds for the Empire. To him, humans were just another weak species waiting to be removed from the galaxy. "Any sign of human ships?" he asked his scanner operator. "Nothing, Commander," the operator replied. "These creatures never fight back. They just run and hide, like scared animals." Zek nodded. It was always the same. Lesser species would panic when the Vorthak arrived. Some would try to evacuate. Others would send desperate messages begging for mercy. But none had ever fought back effectively. "Continue course to the next human settlement," Zek ordered. "We will cleanse it before the main fleet arrives." But Zek did not know that death was already hunting him. The Indomitable existed in the space between spaces. Captain Han Woo-jin watched the Vorthak scouts through displays that showed reality from impossible angles. His ship was invisible to normal sensors because it was not completely in normal space. 5 ships, Weapons Officer Ko Sun-mi reported. "Standard Vorthak design, heavy shields and armor." "Can our weapons penetrate their defenses?" Han asked. "Unknown, sir," Ko replied. "But our quantum torpedoes don't work like normal weapons. They should bypass their shields entirely. Engineer Nam Tae-hyun checked his readings. Quantum drive is stable. We can maintain phase for another 6 hours before we need to rest. Navigator Bae Ji-hoon studied the enemy formation. They're spread out. If we hit the command ship first, the others might panic. Han nodded. The Vorthak had never faced an enemy they could not see or predict. Fear might be their best weapon. Prepare to phase into normal space, Han ordered. We hit fast and hard, then disappear before they can respond. The Indomitable began to shift. The strange colors around them faded. Normal space returned. They were now floating directly behind the Vorthak formation, completely undetected. Fire, Han ordered. Ko launched 2 quantum torpedoes at the lead Vorthak ship. The weapons moved through space like ghosts, passing through the alien shields, as if they were not there. They struck the ship's hull and exploded inside the armor plating. The Vorthak command ship shook violently. Explosions tore through its interior as the quantum energy disrupted the molecular bonds holding the ship together. In seconds, the massive vessel began to break apart. "Impossible!" Commander Zek shouted as his bridge filled with smoke. "Where did they come from?" He never got an answer. His ship exploded in a ball of fire. The other 4 Vorthak ships spun around, looking for their attacker. But the Indomitable had already phased back into quantum space. To the aliens, it had simply vanished. "One down," Ko reported with satisfaction. "Don't celebrate yet," Han warned. "They know we're here now." The remaining Vorthak ships began firing their reality-warping weapons in all directions. Purple beams swept through space, trying to hit an enemy they could not see. But the Indomitable was safe in its quantum phase. "They're panicking," Bae observed. "I've never seen Vorthak ships act like this." Han smiled grimly. Good. Fear was a weapon humans understood well. "Bring us around for another attack," he ordered. "Target the ship on the left." The Indomitable phased back into normal space, this time appearing above the Vorthak formation. 2 more quantum torpedoes struck their target before the aliens even knew the human ship was there. The second Vorthak vessel died as quickly as the first. Its hull cracked open like an egg, spilling atmosphere and debris into space. 2 down, Ko announced. The 3 remaining alien ships tried to form a defensive circle. But they were shooting at shadows. Every time they thought they saw the human ship, it would vanish and appear somewhere else. "This is impossible," shouted the new Vorthak commander. "Nothing can move like that." Han heard the aliens panicked. Transmission and smiled. "Show them what else we can do," he told Ko. This time, the Indomitable attacked while partially phased. The ship was solid enough to fire weapons, but ghost-like enough to pass through the Vorthak return fire. Purple beams swept harmlessly through the human vessel as quantum torpedoes tore into alien hulls. In less than 10 minutes, all 5 Vorthak scouts were destroyed. The Indomitable had not received a single hit. "Phase us back into quantum space," Han ordered. "We need to move before their reinforcements arrive." As the strange colors of the quantum realm returned around them, Engineer Nam checked his readings again. "Drive is running hot but stable. We can continue operations." "Good," Han said, because this was just the beginning. News of the scout. Ship's destruction reached the main Vorthak fleet within hours. Admiral Koroth, commander of the invasion force, could not believe the reports. "Impossible," he said, reading the message for the 3rd time. 5 ships destroyed by a single enemy vessel? The humans don't have technology like that. His intelligence officer, a scarred veteran named Gorth, checked the data again. The surviving sensor logs show brief energy signatures, sir, but the attacking ship vanished between attacks. Cloaking technology? Koroth asked. Unknown, sir. The energy patterns are unlike anything in our databases. Koroth studied the tactical display showing his fleet's position. 200 ships, strong, moving steadily toward the human homeworld. He had never lost a ship in battle. The idea that humans might have a weapon capable of threatening his fleet was ridiculous. Send a message to all ships, he ordered. Watch for unusual energy signatures. Increase sensor sweeps. Whatever destroyed our scouts, we will find it and crush it. But deep down, Koroth felt something he had never experienced before. A tiny seed of doubt. What if the humans were more dangerous than they appeared? Back on the Indomitable, Captain Han was planning his next move. The ship's computer had intercepted Vorthak communications about their main fleet. 200 ships, all, heading for Earth's outer colonies. We can't fight them all, Engineer Nam pointed out. Not in direct battle. We don't need to fight them all, Han replied. We just need to make them afraid. He activated the ship's strategic display. The Vorthak fleet was spread out across several light years, moving in smaller groups toward different targets. Here's what we're going to do, Han explained. We'll hit their supply ships first, then their communication relays. We'll make them see threats everywhere. Navigator Bay plotted a course to intercept a Vorthak supply convoy. This group has 6 ships, mostly cargo vessels with minimal escort. Perfect, Han said. We'll hit them next, as the Indomitable moved. Through quantum space toward its next target, strange things began happening throughout the Vorthak fleet. Ships reported sensor ghosts. Crews saw impossible energy readings. Some claimed to see human vessels that vanished when they tried to attack. The truth was that the quantum drive was causing ripples in space-time. These ripples created false images and phantom readings throughout the area. The Vorthak, who had never encountered such technology, did not understand what was happening. Sir, Engineer Nam reported, I'm detecting something interesting. The quantum field is creating echoes of our ship. The aliens might be seeing multiple copies of us. Han's eyes lit up with understanding. Can you control these echoes? I think so, Nam replied. With some adjustments to the drive harmonics, I might be able to make it look like we have a whole fleet. Do it, Han ordered. Over the next several hours, the Vorthak supply convoy came under attack from what appeared to be 20 human ships. The vessels would appear from nowhere, fire quantum weapons, and vanish before the aliens could respond. The convoy was completely destroyed, but the Indomitable was still just one ship. Admiral Koroth received the report of the convoy's destruction, with growing anger. 20 ships? How did 20 human vessels get past our sensors? Unknown, sir, Gorth replied. But we're getting similar reports from other groups. Human ships appearing and disappearing at will. Are the humans using some kind of new technology? Koroth demanded. It's possible, sir. Our scientists believe they may have developed quantum manipulation devices. Koroth stood and walked to the command deck's main window. Outside, he could see dozens of his ships moving through space. The most powerful fleet in the galaxy, never defeated in battle. But for the first time in his career, he was facing an enemy he did not understand. Send a message to the High Command, he ordered. Request immediate reinforcements. And tell all ship commanders to maintain tight formation. No more scattered groups. As the order went out, Captain Han smiled on the bridge of the Indomitable. The aliens were starting to act defensively. They were afraid. What's our next target? He asked Navigator Bay. There's a Vorthak communication station in the next system, Bay replied. If we destroy it, they'll lose contact with half their fleet. Then that's where we're going, Han said. Time to show them that humans fight back. The Indomitable disappeared back into quantum space, carrying humanity's hope toward its next impossible victory. The Vorthak communication station hung in space like a giant metal spider. Its long arms reached out in all directions, sending messages across the galaxy. This single station coordinated the movements of over 100 alien warships. Captain Han Woo-jin studied the target through the Indomitable's quantum displays. The station was heavily defended. 12 warships surrounded it in a perfect defensive sphere. Energy shields covered every approach. They're expecting us, weapons officer, Ko Sanmi observed. Good, Han replied. That means they're afraid. Engineer Nam Tae-hyun checked his instruments. Quantum drive is holding steady, but I'm seeing some fluctuations. The constant phasing is putting stress on the hull. How much longer can we maintain quantum operations? Han asked. Maybe 24 hours, Nam replied. After that, we'll need to return to normal space for repairs. Han nodded. They were running out of time, but they had to keep fighting. Every day they delayed the Vorthak fleet, more human colonies evacuated. Navigator, can you get us inside their defensive perimeter? Han asked. Bae Ji-hoon studied the alien formation. I can phase us directly into the center of their sphere, but once we're there, we'll be surrounded. Perfect, Han said. Sometimes the best place to hide is right in the middle of your enemies. The Indomitable began to shift between dimensions. The strange colors of quantum space swirled around them as they moved through layers of reality. To outside observers, the ship simply vanished. On the Vorthak command station, Admiral Koroth watched his defensive fleet with growing tension. 3 weeks ago, he had been confident of victory. The humans were weak, scattered, and helpless. Now he found himself looking over his shoulder, expecting ghosts to attack at any moment. Any sign of the human ships? He asked his sensor operator. Nothing, sir, came the reply. All approaches are clear. But even as the words were spoken, reality began to ripple in the center of the defensive formation. Space itself seemed to twist and bend. Then, without warning, the Indomitable phased into normal space directly next to the communication station. Impossible, Koroth shouted. How did they get past our sensors? The human ship opened fire immediately. Quantum torpedoes struck the station's main transmission array. The massive structure began to crack and spark as dimensional energy tore through its systems. The 12 Vorthak warships spun toward the attack, but they were too close to use their heavy weapons without hitting the station. The Indomitable had chosen its position perfectly. Return fire with secondary weapons only, Koroth ordered. Don't damage the station. The alien ships fired smaller energy beams at the human vessel. But the Indomitable was already phasing again. The attacks passed harmlessly through its hull. As it became partially transparent, "This is not possible!" Koroth screamed. "Ships cannot exist in multiple dimensions!" Captain Han heard the aliens' frustrated shouts over the communication channels. "Attack the station's power core," he ordered Ko. "Let's give them something to really worry about." More quantum torpedoes struck the communication station. Explosions rippled through its structure as dimensional energy disrupted the molecular bonds holding it together. The station's shields failed. Its transmission arrays went dark. In seconds, the Vorthak fleet had lost contact with half their ships. "Phase. Us out," Han ordered. "Mission accomplished." The Indomitable disappeared back into quantum space, leaving the aliens staring at empty space where their enemy had been. Admiral Koroth stood in the ruins of his command center. Sparks flew from damaged equipment. The lights flickered on and off. Half his fleet was now operating blind, cut off from Central Command. "Sir," his communications officer reported, "we're getting reports from across the fleet. More attacks by phantom ships. The cargo convoys are requesting escort. The advanced scouts are refusing to operate alone." Koroth felt his carefully planned invasion falling apart. His ships were scared. His crews were jumping at shadows. And somewhere out there, a single human vessel was making his entire fleet look like fools. "Send a galaxy-wide message," he ordered. "Offer a reward of 1,000,000 credits for the destruction of the human ghost ship." But the damage was already spreading beyond the Vorthak fleet. News of human resistance was reaching other species across the galaxy. Races that had been conquered by the Vorthak began to whisper among themselves. If the humans could fight back, maybe they could too. On the mining world of Kepler 7, the native Tentari people heard about the Phantom ship's attacks. They had been slaves to the Vorthak for 50 years, but now they began to sabotage alien mining equipment. In the Outer Rim territories, 3 different species declared independence from the Vorthak Empire. They had been waiting for a sign that the aliens were not invincible. The Indomitable had given them that sign. Captain Han did not know about these rebellions, but he was starting to see their effects. Vorthak ships were being pulled away from the main fleet to deal with uprisings. The invasion force was spreading thinner. "The quantum echoes are getting stronger," Engineer Nam reported during their next mission briefing. "I think I can create the illusion of an entire human battle group." "How many ships?" Han asked. "Maybe 50 phantom vessels," Nam replied. "They won't be able to fire real weapons, but they'll show up on Vorthak sensors." Han smiled. 50 ships. That would really give the aliens something to worry about. "Do it," he ordered. "Let's see how they react to a full fleet engagement." The next Vorthak convoy found itself under attack by what appeared to be the entire human navy. Dozens of ships materialized around them, firing quantum weapons from impossible angles. The aliens fought desperately, but their enemies kept vanishing and reappearing. Within an hour, the convoy was destroyed. But the psychological impact was even greater than the physical damage. Word spread through the Vorthak fleet that the humans had a massive secret armada equipped with dimension-shifting technology. Admiral Koroth received the report while his flagship was under repair. The communications station attack had damaged his own ship's systems. He was starting to look like a commander who could not protect his own forces. 50 ships? He asked, reading the report for the 3rd time. "That's what the survivors claim, sir," Gorth replied. "But our long-range sensors only detected energy signatures from 1 vessel. Are you suggesting our crews are lying?" "No, sir. I'm suggesting the humans have technology we don't understand." Koroth walked to his personal quarters and sealed the door. For the first time in his military career, he was considering retreat. His invasion force was supposed to be unstoppable. Instead, it was being picked apart by an enemy that fought like ghosts. He activated his personal communication array and sent a message to the Vorthak High Command. The message was brief but desperate. "Request permission to abandon human conquest and return to home space." The reply came back within hours. It was even briefer. "Request denied. Complete the mission or face execution for cowardice." Koroth realized he was trapped. He could not retreat. He could not advance safely. The phantom human ships were destroying his forces piece by piece. But then he had an idea. If he could not find the ghost ships, he would force them to come to him. "Send new orders to all ships," he commanded. Abandon the slow advance. We're going directly to the human homeworld. Sir? Gorth asked. That will leave our flanks exposed. The phantom ships are already attacking our flanks, Koroth replied. Better to concentrate our forces and strike at the heart of human space. Once Earth is destroyed, their mysterious fleet will have nothing left to protect. The order went out across the Vorthak Armada. All ships were to abandon their current missions and jump directly to Earth's solar system. They would arrive in overwhelming force and destroy the human homeworld before the Phantom fleet could stop them. On the Indomitable, Captain Han detected the change in alien movements immediately. The Vorthak ships were pulling together into one massive formation. They were heading straight for Earth. They're making their final push, Navigator Bay reported. Estimated time to Earth, 18 hours. Han felt his stomach tighten. The psychological warfare had worked too well. Instead of scaring the aliens away, it had made them desperate. Now they were racing toward Earth for a final battle. Can we stop them? Engineer Nam asked. Han looked at his small crew. 4 people on one experimental ship against 200 alien warships. The odds were impossible. We have to try, he said. Set course for Earth. Maximum quantum speed. Sir, Nam said quietly. The drive is already showing signs of stress. If we push it too hard, we might not survive the trip. If we don't stop that fleet, Earth won't survive at all, Han replied. The Indomitable disappeared into quantum space, one last time, racing toward the final battle. Behind them, the Vorthak Armada followed like a plague of metal locusts, ready to devour humanity's home. The war was about to end, one way or another. The Vorthak Armada emerged from hyperspace at the edge of Earth's solar system like a storm of death. 200 massive warships, each one bristling with reality-warping weapons. Their formation stretched across millions of miles of space, blotting out the stars. Admiral Koroth stood on the bridge of his flagship, staring at the blue planet in the distance. Finally, after weeks of being hunted by phantom ships, he could see his target. Earth hung in space like a jewel, undefended and helpless. Begin the planetary bombardment, he ordered. I want that world reduced to cosmic dust. But before his weapons could fire, space itself began to ripple in the center of his formation. Reality twisted and bent. Colors that had no names danced through the void. Then, with a flash of impossible light, the Indomitable materialized directly in the heart of the Vorthak fleet. Captain Han Woo-jin looked around his bridge at the enemy ships surrounding them. 200 to 1, the worst odds any human had ever faced. But his crew was ready. All weapons armed, Weapons Officer Ko Sunmi reported. Quantum drive at maximum power, Engineer Nam Tae-hyun announced. Warning, sir. The containment field is starting to fluctuate. How long do we have? Han asked. 10 minutes, Nam replied. Maybe less, before the drive tears itself apart. 10 minutes to save humanity. Han activated the ship's communication system and broadcast on all frequencies. This is Captain Han Woo-jin of the Earth vessel Indomitable, he announced. You came here to destroy our world. Instead, you're going to learn what happens when you threaten human families. Admiral Koroth heard the transmission and laughed. One ship? One tiny vessel against my entire armada? The humans have gone insane! Begin firing, he ordered his fleet. Destroy that ship and then finish the planet. 200 Vorthak warships opened fire at once. Purple beams of reality-warping energy converged on the Indomitable from every direction. But Captain Han had one last surprise for his enemies. Activate Protocol 0, he ordered. Engineer Nam's hands shook as he entered the final command sequence. "Sir, this will destabilize the quantum field around the entire fleet. The ship might not survive." "Neither will they," Han replied grimly. Funny. Indomitable's quantum drive suddenly expanded its field to cover millions of cubic miles of space. Every ship in the Vorthak formation was caught in the expanding bubble of twisted reality. The alien energy beams meant to destroy the human ship passed harmlessly through empty space as the Indomitable phased between dimensions faster than thought. The ship existed in 10 different realities at once, making it impossible to target. But the real terror for the Vorthak came when the Indomitable began to fire back. Quantum torpedoes launched from multiple dimensional angles simultaneously. 2. The aliens, it looked like the human ship was attacking from everywhere at once. Weapons appeared out of empty space. Energy beams materialized inside their shields. Their most advanced defenses were useless against an enemy that existed partially outside normal space-time. "Impossible!" Admiral Koroth screamed as explosions rocked his flagship. "Nothing can phase that rapidly." The first Vorthak ships began to die. The dimensional energy from the quantum torpedoes tore through their hulls like paper. Molecular bonds dissolved. Matter forgot how to exist. Entire vessels simply vanished from reality. But the Indomitable was paying a terrible price for its power. The quantum drive was overloading. Sparks flew from every control panel. The hull groaned under stresses that defied physics. "Drive containment at 30%, Nam shouted over the alarms. "We're losing coherence." "Keep firing," Han ordered. "We're not done yet." More alien ships exploded as quantum weapons struck from impossible angles. The Vorthak formation began to break apart as captains panicked. Some tried to flee. Others fired wildly at empty space. None of their weapons could hit a target that existed in multiple dimensions. "This is not warfare," Admiral Koroth raged. "This is madness." He was right. The battle had become something beyond normal understanding. The Indomitable flickered in and out of existence like a ghost made of fire and fury. Every time it appeared, more alien ships died. Minutes passed like hours. The space around Earth became a graveyard of destroyed Vorthak vessels. 50 ships gone, then 70, then 100. But the quantum drive was dying. Warning lights flashed red across the Indomitable's bridge. The hull was starting to crack as dimensional stress tore at the ship's structure. "Containment failure in 60 seconds, Nam warned. "If we don't shut down the drive, we'll be scattered across 1,000 dimensions." Han looked at his tactical display. Over half the Vorthak fleet was destroyed, but dozens of ships remained. Admiral Koroth's flagship was still intact, still trying to target Earth with its planetary bombardment weapons. "One more attack," Han decided. "Target the flagship directly." "Sir, if we phase that close to their command ship while the drive is failing," Nam began. "We'll take them with us," Han finished. "All power to the quantum torpedoes. Everything we have left." The Indomitable made its final attack run. The ship appeared directly next to Admiral Koroth's flagship, so close that their hulls almost touched. At point-blank range, Ko fired every remaining quantum torpedo. The massive alien vessel shuddered as dimensional energy tore through its core. Admiral Koroth had just enough time to realize his defeat before his ship exploded in a ball of twisted space-time. The explosion created a chain reaction. The quantum field destabilized further. Reality itself began to crack around the battle zone. The remaining Vorthak ships, caught in the expanding wave of dimensional chaos, simply ceased to exist. One by one, 200 alien warships vanished from reality. Where the most powerful fleet in the galaxy had been, only empty space remained. Drive. "Containment failure!" Nam shouted. "We're losing phase coherence!" The Indomitable suddenly snapped back into normal space-time with a thunderous crash. The quantum drive went silent. Emergency power flickered on as the main engines died. Captain Han pulled himself up from the deck where the dimensional transition had thrown him. Around him, his crew slowly got to their feet. They were alive. Somehow, impossibly, they were alive. "Status report," Han ordered. "Drive is completely dead," Nam reported. "Hull integrity at 15%. We're not going anywhere under our own power." "Weapons offline," Ko added. "We've fired everything we had." "But we're alive," Navigator Bay said with wonder. "And they're not." Han looked at the main display. The space around Earth was empty except for scattered debris. 200 Vorthak warships had been reduced to cosmic dust in exactly 10 minutes. "Open a channel to Earth Command," Han ordered. The communication system crackled to life. Admiral Yoon Seok-jin's voice came through clearly. "Indomitable, this is Busan Station. We're reading massive energy discharges in your area. What's your status?" "Mission accomplished," Han replied. "The Vorthak fleet has been destroyed." Silence filled the communication channel for several seconds. Then Admiral Yoon's voice returned, filled with disbelief. "Repeat that, Captain. Did you say the entire fleet?" "All 200 ships," Han confirmed. "Earth is safe." Within hours, rescue ships arrived to tow the powerless Indomitable back to Earth. The crew was hailed as heroes, but they felt only exhaustion. They had saved humanity, but at a cost none of them fully understood yet. News of the Vorthak fleet's destruction spread across the galaxy faster than light. Species that had been enslaved for centuries rose up against their alien oppressors. The Vorthak Empire, built on the belief that they were invincible, collapsed within weeks. Humanity emerged from the war as a major galactic power. Other species wanted to ally with the race that had accomplished the impossible. Trade agreements and defense pacts followed. The galaxy was no longer divided between the strong and the weak. The Indomitable was brought to Earth and placed in the Museum of Human Achievement. Millions of visitors came to see the ship that had saved their world. But the quantum drive technology was deemed too dangerous to reproduce. Some weapons were too powerful even for humanity to use safely. Captain Han Woo-jin was promoted to admiral and put in charge of Earth's new space fleet. His crew received medals and honors, but they preferred to think of themselves as ordinary people who had done what needed to be done. Years later, when asked about the battle that saved Earth, Han would always give the same answer. "We didn't win because we were stronger or smarter than our enemies. We won because we refused to give up. When someone threatens your family, your home, your species, you fight back with everything you have. That's what makes us human." The Vorthak had learned too late that humans were not prey animals waiting to be harvested. They were predators who had simply been sleeping. And when predators wake up angry, the galaxy remembers why they should be left alone. In the end, the aliens had tried to wipe out humanity. Instead, they had created their own extinction. The hunters had become the hunted, and the galaxy was a safer place because of it. The war was over. Humanity had won. And the stars themselves would remember the 10 minutes when a single human ship destroyed an empire and saved a world.